This is a video presentation of Biofuel Energy Corp. It's a NASDAQ listed stock, trading ticker BIOF. For starters, this is just a technical look at BIOF. I have no idea what happened right through here. I didn't do any due diligence to find out fundamentally why the stock fell apart. Although it did produce a great bounce from lows of $1.13 all the way up to $2.74. It actually has kind of a bit of a descending triangle forming. But what I'm most interested in right now is this support level right around $1.75 to see if that's going to hold, because the Bollinger Bands are starting to tighten up. Stock's been trading in a range throughout February, and it tried to break out on Friday, even though it pulled back into the close, right back down to a resistance point at $1.90. But with the support in place, moving averages pulling together, Bollinger Bands tightening, things like that, tell me to pay attention to it, to see if it's going to make a sharper move to come up and challenge this upper end resistance, or if by chance it's going to fall apart and fall through that support level. You can see the MACD rising from those lows. Bullish cross just now happening. The 12 passed through the 26 EMA. You can see that by the histogram bars popping through zero on Friday. That's indicating in the short term there's a shift in trend towards bullishness. Again, just one more hint to pay attention to the chart. ADX down low near 10. Reference this in a lot of videos. When it reaches this sort of low level, look for it to start to move upward, add some strength to a direction. Doesn't tell you which direction, it just says to look for it to happen. As in right through here when it hit 10, that happens to be when the stock fell apart. But it's just always a benchmark area and a nuance of the ADX, so it's something to pay attention to going forward. See some buying pressure coming in. Stock trying to trade a little bit higher. It's got the 7, 14, and 21 MFIs turning. 7 just now above 50. Ideally, want to see all three components above that level to show that the current price is moving well above average prices. Outside of this sell-off, accumulation distribution has been running relatively sideways, suggesting that there's some indecision between buying and selling pressures. You can see that a little bit more clearly in the Chaikin money flow, which is just below zero. The zero mark essentially means that buying and selling pressure are equal over 20-period increments. CCI is starting to climb, and that's a price-related indicator. A move through zero says the price is above its 20-day mean. Technical buy signal comes on the break of 100. Full stow back up near 50. As with other indicators, we want to see it on the upper half. That says the bulls have control of momentum. Right now it is stuck at a neutral point. And the tricks, lagging indicator of trend. Again, like the MACD, want to see a bullish cross, want to see it above zero to show that upward pressure is strengthening. RSIs, kind of to beat the same drum. Again, want to see them over top of 50. Show that the bulls have control of momentum. Because you can see right through here, when the stock did put together a little rise off this support level, that's when the RSIs moved to the upper half of the indicator. That break back down through 50 says the momentum is going back bearish, and of course you can see what happened. Dropped right back down to the support point, right there around $1.75, maybe just slightly below at $1.72. Point being, if this stock starts to come back down, that's going to be the closing price I'm going to want to see hold, to treat it as a little bit of a double bottom type of pattern idea. Now the first place I'm going to look for from a resistance standpoint is right there at Friday's closing price at $1.90. You can see going back into December, that was trying to hold as a support point. Once it was broken, that general area was serving as resistance. And you can see again, throughout all of February, stock hasn't been able to close above that level. So that's kind of a key spot. As I mentioned, Bollinger Bands are pulling together. Just one other thing that says pay attention to me. Bollinger Bands tend not to want to get too tight before the stock will make a little bit of a larger move. So it's something to note when they start pulling closely together. As well, all the short term and even the 50-day moving average are all tucked together. Again, something that can often be indicative of a larger move ready to come. So with those things in mind, if the stock breaks down, it may very well cave right through this support level, and it's hard telling where it would go from that point. It would certainly pick up a little bit more support right down near $1.40, but even that's not super clear. It's just based upon 2 days. So it's really anyone's guess from a technical standpoint what can happen if this support level falls. Now to the upside, if it does break back through this short-term resistance, I'd look into this 223 area for the resistance to start to pick back up. And by and large, it's going to run pretty heavy all the way up to about $2.42. But again, that's a nice upside from Friday's closing price at $1.90. Volume's relatively thin in this play, only 111,000 shares traded on Friday, and that was actually an uptick from previous days. And it looks like it was probably the 5th highest volume day so far in 2014. So with it being somewhat thinly traded, you can see what happens on a bigger day. The stock can make a pretty large move. So I'd like to see a little bit of an increase to take out this resistance level, but I'm not super concerned if it doesn't go crazy with volume and get up near 1 million shares or something like that. The stock typically just doesn't do that. I just like to see an increase to show that some buying interest is growing and to lend to the idea that the stock is going to try and take a run at this upper end resistance and maybe even further down the line try and make up some of this more ground it lost over the course of 2 days in November. So those are the type of things that I'll be looking for in the BIOF chart. But as always, merely my interpretation. Thank you for watching. Trade smart.